next session will deal with the best practice on revenue collection strategies, and it will be headed by Mr. Rajesh Ranjit. In his team, we have the Department of Public Works, represented by Kolile Ntanza, an official revenue manager from the Harry Gwala district, Ms. Tembeka Kaba, and from the National Treasury, Mr. Dirk Spangenberg. And the discussion will revolve around enhancing debt management and credit control policies and procedures for sustainable growth. We're looking at the realm of organs of state in government debt, business and commercial debt, and management and accounting for indigents. Headed by Mr. Ranjit of KZN Cocta. Can I call you up to participate and lead in this informative panel discussion? Thank you.
Good morning, colleagues, once again. In terms of introducing my panel, we're joined by Tembeka Kaba. She's the revenue manager at Harry Gwala District Municipality. If you can just raise your hand, Tembeka. Just some portfolio and profile on Tembeka. She started as a debtors clerk and then worked up to a chief accountant. She's now the revenue manager at Harry Gwala District Municipality. She's been there for 21 years. She has a national diploma in accounting, and she's got a post-grad in business management. The next panelist we have is Mrs. Ntanzi, Nkoli Ntanzi. She's been in the public service for 24 long years, colleagues. She started as admin clerk. She's then progressed up the ranks. She's a director, but she's currently acting as a chief director in the Provincial Department of Public Works. She's got 24 years experience in immovable asset management, both provincial and national level. And she also is responsible for the payment of property rates to municipalities. In terms of academic profile, she's got a public diploma, bachelor's diploma in public admin. She's got an advanced diploma in business management, a diploma in HR, and she's got advanced project management and property management, and she's also a property research analyst. Apparently this is a very scarce skill, and she's one of the few people in the province that has this.
Thank you, facilitator, and greetings, colleagues. As it has been indicated, I'm a public servant under the Department of Public Works provincially. Maybe just to touch on the few additions or comments that one will need to bring to the attention of the colleagues. As Provincial Public Works, we're responsible for the payment of property rates on provincial properties. The colleagues, I think by now we know which properties fall under the Department of Provincial Public Works. It will be your schools, clinics, hospitals, and so forth. In terms of I know, Raj, you talked about the allocation of monies, where you're indicating there are some municipalities that will not know. Please, there are those two colleagues there. They are responsible for overseeing the accounts. So if you are not sure, you can speak to them. It's Nogwazi Lamini and Meryl Naika. In the event that you are not getting the right people in our regional offices. So there is absolutely no need for the municipalities to say they will not be able to allocate the monies that has been dispersed by the department. The other thing that I think it's worth mentioning is the issue of Section 14 schools. They're also responsible for that aspect. So if you are not sure whether the school is a Section 14, they are there for you colleagues to assist. Maybe the hot potato in terms of the budget allocation and budget limitation. Without hanging up the dirty laundry in respect of public works, colleagues, we've got a challenge in terms of limited budget. If I can just make a scenario for this current financial year, the estimated billing is 1.5 billion. And initially we received about 750 million. And then about 2 weeks ago, we were very happy to receive an additional budget of 345. So that takes us to at least 1 billion. We're still short of 500 million. So it's as much as it is so for all of us, but we will not be able to satisfy all the invoices that we have received. As I've indicated, we've got a bill of 1.5 billion. We are still hoping that Provincial Treasury will assist us. And I was happy to learn that there's a rich brother here next to me. Maybe he can come to our, to our rescue in terms of that. But I think Provincial Public Works is one department that does process payments. I know that sometimes there will be delay in terms of the cash getting into your bank. But as much as we have those limitations, we do really try and satisfy the invoices that we have received. Uraj also spoke about the issue of vesting of state properties. I think some of you colleagues will attest that as Provincial Public Works, as long as it is a clinic, a school, hospital, we don't have an issue in processing property rates. In such an instance that even for your former R293 properties, they might be registered in the name of Abaqulus municipality. I'm making an example. But if it's a school, we do take that invoice into account. We are in the process of registering those properties into the name of the provincial government, but it's got financial implications. But I think over the years, we have progressed in that aspect. Raj, please, I think you'll have to intervene more in terms of the disconnections. I think colleagues in the past month, we have experienced disconnections, one from, maybe let me not say which municipalities, Bangaza Bangshai. So about, in one municipality, I think it lasted for almost 2 weeks, colleagues. And that was one of our regional offices that was disconnected. And the issue was that, it's like I indicated, that we don't have an issue with paying. It was just a delayed payment. So if you can please assist us in terms of intervening in that regard, we're always willing to pay, colleagues. Maybe just 2 more before I conclude. The implementation of valuation roles, colleagues. We know we are not special customer, we're not special in any form. But because of the large portfolio that we hold or that we manage, we request that if we can be involved as early as possible, so that at least we have that opportunity to analyze the valuation role and lodge objections if we need to. For me alone, I'm just owning one property. It's very easy for me to do that within 30 days. But a portfolio of about 12,000 properties, then it becomes very difficult. Lastly, colleagues, I think there will be a CFO's forum. When is it, Raj? Early December. Our CFO will be sharing with you colleagues the approach that he intends to take in terms of the payment of property rates. So if the CFOs are not here, if you can just share with them that we'll be making that presentation by Provincial Public Works CFO in terms of how to intend going forward in terms of payment of property rates. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Ntanzi. I've just been reminded we've got about 20 minutes left for the session. So what we're going to do, we'll allow Tembeka to come in and I'll ask you a question now. We'll also ask Mrs. Pannenberg to give some comments. So Tembeka, the question I want to pose to you, you are a district municipality. You have limited resources because you only do water and wastewater. You are heavily grant dependent. So you really need to put an extra effort to collect from your debtors. So you maybe want to share with the delegates in terms of what you're doing in terms of revenue collection. And then also indicate to us the relations you have with your locals in terms of them sharing your valuation role with you to enhance your debtors' data, and whether you're moving in a direction where you want to have a seamless indigent register, where you have one criteria, one register. If you're not there yet, it's fine, but if you can just give us a short response in terms of the initiative you're doing there. Am I clear, Tembeka? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Raj, and greetings to colleagues. Just to a little bit of a background. We are a district municipality which is rural, Exobo, Kokstad, Mzimkulu, Underberg, Bulwa, Crichton, Heimville, and Greater Kokstad. Our debt book is quite big. We have the historical debt, which was taken from the local municipalities 15 or 20 years ago, some of it. We have had the projects, we have done the data cleansing in trying to make sure that we build the correct people, because they take on information from the local municipalities. Some of it didn't help us. We didn't have contact details, the correct stand numbers, the correct meters connected to properties. It was just a mixed match. So in all these 20 years, we're still trying to get the information correct on a daily basis. We have tried to do the collaboration with the local municipalities in terms of the indigent support. But I can tell you, it's very difficult to deal with local municipalities. Some of them, local municipalities, doesn't have a problem. You'll speak to one colleague, then she will just give you the information, and then you go to the next one, and then they will say, you need to speak to the municipal manager, whereas you just need the evaluation role. It is unfortunate that at this point in time, we don't have the integrated systems of which it starts from getting the correct information for the dwelling, for the type of dwelling, to the affordability of the consumers within the district. As we have just said, as I've just said, that we are a rural municipality, of which we are dominated by domestic. Mr. Raj has just projected that the domestic debt is quite bigger than the government debt. That is true. We have, from the debt book that we have right now, it's 85% of the total debt that is owed by the domestic municipality, the domestic consumers. And then the organ of states, it's far lesser than the percentage that is owed by domestic. And then we were lucky that we were selected by COGTA to be in one of the pilot projects, of which it did help us a lot. We gave them the debt book as raw as it is, because
we have tried to do the data cleansing projects, and we're not winning with that. As long as we don't have the correct systems which will help us to say that Ms. Xaba has a property in Ixopo, on number 29 High Street, and Tembeka can afford to pay for the municipal services, and she has this kind of business that she's doing on the other side besides the getting the salary. We cannot win because we keep on chasing the wrong people at the wrong time, trying to get them to pay the municipal bills. We cannot shy away that at this point in time, nobody wants to pay for the bills because they are too expensive, number one. Number two, the information that we have, if it's not shared within us, like the district level and the local municipalities, then how would I know that Tembeka has moved from the property, has sold the property, she has bought another property, or she was renting from this and then go to the other property? As long as we still have those kind of problems, then us as revenue managers, we cannot move anyway. And then another thing that I want to say right now is that most of the people or our leaders or our HODs within the municipalities, some of them, they don't understand the revenue management. They think revenue management, it just starts from collection. But it should start back from identifying the property. You go to identify the type of dwelling, and then you have the correct tariff for the property, and then have the correct infrastructure which is being maintained on a yearly basis or whenever it is needed. To stay with faulty meters for 6 months, it surely cripples the revenue collection, because how are you going to collect from the person that you've been estimating for at least 6 months? And you find that type of consumer is a big customer. Then you cannot say that I'm going to close off the services without billing on a consumption which will be understood by both you as the municipality and the consumer. So, but then when we implement our policies, some of the instances will force us to act because some of the government departments doesn't want to pay at all. There was one instance whereby we had a case for Department of Health. It's a hospital. It was a huge bill. We discussed the matters at provincial level, at national level, COGTA and Treasury. But we didn't win. The only thing that we had to do is to reduce the flow. And then after we had reduced the flow, they came back to pay. So in some instances, we think about the lives of the people that resides in that particular dwelling, and then circumstances forces us to act in a hard way. But then what I can encourage the departments is that I've had the sharing of the information whereby they have paid, but they did not send the remittance advice for us to allocate. We have too many cases for that, and we end up allocating to one account. And then to run away from the problem where you have the unallocated deposit account to increase on a daily basis, we rather push it to one of the accounts that we know that it belongs to that particular department, and then move on. Then whenever they feel like sending you the remittance, then we can allocate properly. Okay, in terms of the indigent support, we have a challenge. We really have a challenge. Number one, our communities, they don't want to apply. You can put a tent over the weekend to accommodate whoever is working during the week or whoever is busy during the week, but you won't find anything. As long as we don't have the systems that will maybe pre-select on those that cannot afford for the services, and then maybe if you can just visit all those consumers to say that you have been pre-selected, because there's nothing we can do at the present moment. You'll be sitting with only 500 people on the list, and then hoping that it's going to increase, but rather come next year, then it will just go down. And then the people that are applying, some of them, they put the wrong information. They give you the information that they want you to have, rather than the one that will make them to qualify for the indigency. So with the lack of resources, there's absolutely nothing that we can do. It's human capital, as long as as well as the resources that we need. That is the systems that are integrated, from the billing system to the prepaid system, if we have the prepaid system, and then the indigent system. Then in that way, we can win the debt collection, the revenue management, and all those kind of things. I thank you. I think I've covered everything.
Yes. Thank you very much, Tembeka. I think you have covered the issues. Panel members, my program director is threatening me not to have lunch. She's saying I'm overrunning her time. So, Meneer, we'll give you about 5 minutes just to give some comments. We won't ask you anything specific. You've seen the presentation, you've heard the comments. Just to give us 5 minutes in terms of comments you may wish to have. And then we'll take a few questions from the floor. And then I think our session, we don't mean to rush you. Am I right, Program Director? Would that be in order? Okay. All right. So we give about 5 minutes, then we open to the floor if you don't mind. Thank you.
Thank you. I thought it's my opportunity today to keep you here until 4 o'clock. But okay, first of all, what I would like to say is that we talked about fraud and people that's doing the wrong things, that's stealing, etc. But you know what's worse for me? People that's not doing their work. Officials that sit in the offices and they don't do their work. And what kind of work must they do? They must do debt collection. And you can go from municipality to municipality and you will see, if those people that's sitting in those offices just do 10% more, I promise you your collection rates will skyrocket. We had one municipality where we assisted, and in 3 months' time, we could double the collection rate, double it. But we were willing to work, and no councillor went against us. And if a councillor wants to go against us, I think the next step is we must say, all those wards where there are councillors, if the debt collection is low, let's keep the councillor remuneration also low. You agree? Oh, you're going to be in trouble. I didn't say it, please. But I think that is what we must do. We must first get the people to do debt collection. I've learned what we have said here today. There's very little that I can add to it, and I think I've already done it. But that small booklet that we received this morning, please get yourself one of those copies. I've read through it this morning. And there are so many things that we can learn from that document. Even with my 30 years in this environment, I've seen this morning, I've seen some things there that I didn't really thought about, but they are there. So, project manager here, I think this is a project that you manage well. Thank you for that, and your presentation was also good. And good luck. That's my last words to you. Go back to your municipalities, put in effort, be positive. I think that's the one thing that we're all short. We must be very positive. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Pannenberg. Colleagues, I think we can now open it for discussion. I think what we'll do is probably take 5 questions, and then we'll respond, and then maybe take a next round. So can we see hands, please? But no difficult questions. I see a hand on my left. Get a mic there, please. Sudesh, you're not allowed to ask questions. You must support us. That's why you're here. Okay, we'll take one from Sudesh. That's 2. We're looking for 3 more. Clear as mud for the rest of you. Okay, let's take those 2, and then maybe we'll get more. Let's start at the back. There was one at the back before you. Can we get a mic there, please? Can you raise your hand, please, Sissy?
Hi, good day, everyone. My name is Ubongega from eThekwini Municipality. I have a contribution which is partially a question and a suggestion. I think this is the second platform that I've attended from the SIGFARO conference to this one, where we are trying to come up with strategies to enhance revenue collection. But there's something that's been on my mind, which I'm not sure if it's acceptable to the municipality, since local government objective is more on the service potential rather than profit making. But I'm thinking, if we are able to take a proactive approach to collection, for example, offering settlement discounts to early payers. If a person's bill is due on the 11th, maybe just say if a person is settling within 5 days of their account being due, then they get a specific settlement. I see that my opinion on our collection is that we are actually providing remedies instead of providing prevention to the stagnation of collection of debts. Because if we are, it seems like we are actually promoting and yes, while we are assisting people to actually pay when they're in arrears, what about those that are paying well? They are paying early. If they are being encouraged to pay early, we can then improve our debtors repayment period, which will then improve our cash flows. And then if our cash flows are improved, then our municipal infrastructure will be able to then focus some of those funds into our municipal structure management, which also is the factors that are really sometimes discourage repayment from the residents who are unhappy about some of the infrastructure, instead of only relying on government. So this might be for business making companies, but we can also implement that. Say we are encouraging people who are paying, and those that are paying late can also then learn from that point. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we take Sudesh and then I'll respond?
Right. Does that give me the liberty to ask more than one question?
No, not you. You're not a municipality. You're our big brother.
Then I'm not asking any questions. I'm going to make some comments then.
As long as it's not critical, you're allowed to make comments. It must be constructive and value-adding.
All right. So the question I had for the district municipality is that we know that electricity is used as a lever to collect on debt, right, on the current accounts. You don't have that opportunity. How else do you collect other than restriction? Or what do you call it? Is it a restriction on the flow?
Yeah, reduce flow.
Is that a useful tool? Should you not be engaging with the municipalities for them to help you collect in those areas? And this goes back to the point where we're trying to get ESCOM to help us collect in their areas of jurisdiction as well. Because the fact of the matter is that the collection rate on property rates and other services in the ESCOM areas are low. Without having that lever of electricity to collect in those areas, the municipality is struggling. So why not engage municipalities and see whether it's possible for them to help collect water? It's very difficult to collect water debt. Why not try and engage the municipalities to help collect on the water? The next one was on the organs of state or the government properties. Perhaps we need to put all organs of state properties on a prepaid solution. And maybe I'll like a view from the colleague on the panel, whether it will be something that's palatable to the properties that you cover. So what I'm saying is that all government departments, all government properties, we put them on a prepaid system for electricity, right? And through that, we'll collect on all the other services as well. The problem that we have with organs of state owing municipalities is a perception issue. A customer on the ground, a household on the ground, says that, why should I pay if government is owing government? And we're trying to deal with that perception issue at the national level. And that is why we're trying so hard to deal with the organs of state debt. Because it's about consequences. The municipality that cut off the department that was not paying for 2 weeks, it's a perception. It shows that the municipality is serious. There's consequences for not paying the bill. And from where we sit, we encourage ESCOM to cut any municipality off where there's a arrear amount or they're not paying the current account. We encourage municipalities to cut any customer off that's owing them, right? Within reason. So that's the message that we will send out all the time from where we sit. The problem with credit control is consistency. Very often municipalities implement or invoke the credit control only in times of crisis. If you were to consistently implement your credit control when there's faults or defaulters, then the message out there will be consistent and you'll have a better result coming through. I just thought I'll make the last one on the incentive that the previous colleague spoke about now. It's good to have incentives, but if you're going to give an incentive to someone who's paying well, you'll need to add a percentage above the tariff that you are imposing on that customer to allow for that incentive, because that will start eating into your core operations ultimately. Thanks.
Thank you, Sudesh. I'll respond to the first one from Tigwini regarding area settlement. I think Sudesh has talked about it a little bit. I know Msunduzi was doing it a few years back. If you settled early, you'd get a 2% discount on your utility bill. Also, a few years ago, Alfred Duma was saying to their consumers, if you paid your property rates as a once-off payment, they were giving you a 5% discount, as opposed to paying your rates monthly. So if you paid us lump sum, 5% discount. But I think those incentives has fallen away for the very reason that Sudesh talks about. In order to give you a discount, you got to overprice to a certain extent so that you compensate for the discount. And I think in both the cases I've referred to, I think they found that consumers were not really taking up the offer. Hence it fell away. So I think it's a good initiative, but as Sudesh is saying, it in place, you got to push up your costs a little bit more to compensate. And that would be a process where now it affects the tariffs, affects the budget, revenue foregone. So it's quite a complicated issue. Sudesh, you raised a number of issues regarding the prepaid, and I think, Koli, I'm not sure, you're a rates-paying department, so I'm not sure if you want to respond to the prepaid, but I can if you don't want to. What was the other issue? I think that was for the district in terms of what are they doing besides water and working with the locals. So Tembeka, are you comfortable to respond with that? Can I maybe just quickly deal with Koli's and then we come back to you, right? So this is a department that pays for property rates only. It is the department that consumes that will pay for the utilities. So I want to go back to the example made earlier on. Grace Hospital were not paying for electricity and water. They disconnected the Natalia building. Schools' rates were paid up to date by this very department. A school in our northern suburbs was disconnected. Sorry. Rates was a bit delayed by this department because of financial constraints. The utility bills in that school were up to date. Msunduzi, in their wisdom, went and disconnected that school. Did not give them notice to say we disconnect because arrear rates, and they went and disconnected. The school took the municipality to court and they won. They're saying our utilities bills are up to date. Why are you disconnecting us? This should be the respondent. So I'm saying those dynamics, and then also we need to get buy-in from those departments that are consuming services to go for prepaid. I think analysis also shows when you go on prepaid, your unit costs are slightly more than your conventional. But these issues we are exploring as PCF, and it's something we will certainly take on board. Okay, my leadership has risen, so I think time is up. Thank you, colleagues. Thank you to my panel members. You were very great. And thank you for being an attentive audience in my session. Thank you, colleagues.
Can we give them another round of applause, ladies and gentlemen? And can we give yourselves a round of applause? Well done. Thank you, panel members. Thank you, National Treasury and COCTA. We have a token for you. Please hold on.
But Leanne, this is not fair. Mr. Spanamgwiga is getting so many tokens, he's getting money, he's getting gifts, and other delegates are getting nothing. Thank you, you must declare, yes.